Friday, January 7th, Cotton Bowl, Texas A&M, LSU. Johnny, I know this is your best bet, and it's your first best bet with us here on the podcast, so we're going to be anxious to hear what you've got to say. You want to tell us who you like in this game and why?
Well, let's kind of go over where we sit with the lines, and I'm going to refer to the game as the Cotton Bowl, not the AT&T Cotton Bowl. I'm not an old guy, but I just can't stand how every bowl game.
What are you trying to say? You're not an old guy? Is that another backhanded pun?
Hey,
did RJ put you up to that?
Hey, but you're styling. You got the suit. I'm in the jumpsuit. Like I just, obviously I'm trying to do.
The last few weeks I've gotten, so I found some extra money around. So I figured, you know what? I think I'll get a couple more suits. This is my RJ blue.
It's my first show, so I'm starting off with the jumpsuit. So maybe
I'll tell you what, start betting RJ and you'll be in a suit.
You know what? Next time I'm in Vegas, I love you and everything, but I want to do the show with RJ so I can make some money. Like I said, it's the Cotton Bowl, not the AT&T Cotton Bowl. We'll get past that. Game opened at a pick and 49. Public's all over LSU. Obvious reasons. The SEC in bowl games is like a no-brainer right out the gate for most people. The line's now LSU minus 1.5. The total is going back and forth on what the public's really looking at. It's still basically at the 49, so really not much movement there. I know this is my best bet before I get to my rundown. With your run on the videos, would you go 7-1 last week? 7-1 last week.
We did 5 videos, or excuse me, we did 6 videos here, and then I do the 2 weekend ones that I do on my homepage, the webcams, and it was a good week for sure.
Right. So before I even get to that, I think a lot of people watch the show. They always want to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to hand it to you first to get your thoughts on the game.
Well, and I'm glad this is your best bet because this is one I'm still battling back and forth with, to be honest with you, Johnny, because they're so different styles. This is going to be the LSU defense versus the Texas A&M offense. You figured the winner of that matchup.
Right.
That's how you get this game. And, Texas A&M has been good all year. The only thing that I'll, point out is a couple teams that did have good defenses. Nebraska, case in point, did hold this Texas A&M team to 9 points this year. Texas A&M still found a way to win that game. That was the field goal battle, 9-6, but they slowed them down. LSU has played some high-octane offenses out of the SEC this year. Cam Newton, Heisman Trophy winner. We know what kind of year he had. LSU was able to hold him 16 of 30 passing for $128. That was like one of Cam Newton's lowest performances this year. And another guy that this one's interesting because both teams played Arkansas this year. Ryan Mallett, passed for 198 against LSU.
What, 300 or so.
310 against A&M. So
yeah, it was 17-24, I think, was the final with A&M losing to Arkansas.
So, I've always been old school, so you would think I'd, probably like the defense, if you put my back up against the wall. But I'm still breaking this one down, but I want to hear you. You're the guy that's got the best bet here.
Well, to go over the angle end first from the handicapping perspective is, like I said to start the video, is, number one, SEC. I'm from the Big Ten. I'm a Michigan homer.
Sorry for that.
You're the Big East guy. We're out in the West Coast. We have some Pac-10 fans in the office. Let's just be honest. I don't care what anyone tries debating. The SEC is the king. So we had SEC out the gate. A&M played Arkansas this year earlier, lost. They got rolled by the SEC last year when they played them. Don't overhype the fact the game's in Texas. A lot of people, it's Cotton Bowl, the hometown, crowd type of thing. I've been to a lot of bowl games. I've been to Capital One. I've been to the Orange Bowl. I flew down the year Alabama and Florida played for the SEC title. The same year they beat Oklahoma, went to that game. An SEC fan is worth 2 or 3 other fans from any other school. They're just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when it comes to football.
Is that a sober SEC fan or a drunk SEC fan?
The drunk is even maybe worth 5 or 6.
They like to drink.
They like to drink and they're wild. I've been to a lot of Super Bowl, the Ryder Cup. The SEC title game, the Orange Bowl. Seeing these SEC fans, they're nut jobs. So the whole thing being in Texas, to me, I think you got to toss out the window. Another thing is, people are saying, well, the LSU running back was his name Stephen Ridley. He might play, might not play. LSU has a pretty good backup. Their squad's pretty deep. To me, that's not even a variable to really
just
even
to
consider.
Jump in there for a second to give an example. When you get to these elite programs like LSU, Case in point, go to the Iowa-Missouri game, bowl game earlier, where they had the back out. The guy that came in, this is just another guy waiting. It's, the backup is only somebody you haven't heard of yet on these big programs. They just haven't had their chance. I mean, these are blue chip recruits, so you can rest assured there's some horses still left in the barn.
Oh, for sure. I mean, on paper, you look at, A&M versus the SEC recently, you look at the SEC in the bowl games, especially the BCS games, the talent of the conference. I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that LSU is the play from the trends, from the angles, from the handicapping, from everything else, but, and a big but, and I know you're, more of a handicapper. Well, me.
Let me set the stage for you for a second, because guys that aren't familiar with Johnny Detroit, you're a connection guy. This is one of, I love hanging with this guy because he is connected. You offshore guys at sports books and everything else, you know stuff that the general betting public doesn't know because you're privy to that information. Tell us a little bit about that.
I understand the trends, the angles. I could talk games. But to me, there's people that, move the lines offshore, dictate where stuff's going to go. Guys in town, you've met some of my contacts in town. Guys that do this for a living, they're moving the money, they're betting the games. And a lot of times with them, it comes down to math. So this is stuff that for me, from being a football fan, a bettor, all this information, I'm taking LSU. I check with my local guys here, talk to some guys offshore, and almost across the board, I have multiple sources telling me that they have Texas A&M -3 to -3.5. And earlier in the week when I was here in Vegas, one of the same guy who has this line, he had Mississippi State at -13.5. On the Stanford game when we were playing the cards, I mentioned, my one local who's a big mover, he told me he had Stanford -7 in that game. So all of this information has me saying LSU, but personally my best bet's going to be Texas A&M 27-24 over LSU in the Cotton Bowl, fading the SEC, and I'm going to go with the Aggies.
Well, you know what? Since I can't argue with you, and you've been dead on with the information that you get. So Johnny Detroit's first ever video best bet, he's going with Texas A&M. And since it is your first best bet, we give a coupon away every week. And in honor of your appearance on the show this week,
my name is going to be in a coupon.
Your name is in the coupon. It is Johnny10. Spell it out, all caps, because you are worthy of all caps. Johnny and the number 10. Go to the checkout, enter that coupon code when you check out. You'll get $10 off anything you buy that week. You can use a coupon all the way through Monday, the national championship game. And if the package happens to only cost $10, that means it's on RJ. And we really don't want to do that this week because you cracked them at the poker table. I cracked them with Stanford. We got to get the guy some money. So, buy something that's more than $10, but use the coupon, save yourself $10.
Exactly. I don't want him to start pawning the video cameras. And 3 weeks, he keeps losing you. The set's going to have no background.
No problem. Hey, that wraps up the Cotton Bowl. We're going to be back next. We're switching gears. We're going to NFL playoff action. Next up, New Orleans at Seattle. Did I say the Seattle Seahawks?
7-9?
Seattle Seahawks hosting a playoff game. We'll be right back.